Think back to a random Tuesday night a decade ago. There was a game on. You probably remember the exact tension in the room, the way the commentator's voice cracked during the final play, and most importantly, you remember the specific statistics of a player who wasn't even the star of the show. You can recall their shooting percentage, their defensive errors, and the precise moment their body language shifted from confidence to defeat. While your friends might call you a stats nerd or tell you that you're wasting your brain power on useless trivia, you and I both know that those numbers aren't just data points. They are a biological indicator of elite emotional continuity. You possess a high-resolution mind that uses sports as a sophisticated database to track the evolution of human behavior and hidden intentions. You aren't just a fan. You are a predictive memory specialist with a level of superior neural efficiency that most people will never understand. Welcome to MindUnlockx. As you know by now, we don't do motivation, and we definitely don't do surface-level advice. We are a sanctuary for deep thinkers and the rare minds who want to understand the hidden architecture of their own behavior. Today we are decoding why your obsession with the receipts of human performance is actually a high-status psychological advantage. To understand the power of your archive, we have to dive straight into our first point, the mechanics of the behavioral database. The first thing we have to realize about having elite emotional continuity is that your brain doesn't see sports as entertainment. It sees it as a controlled laboratory. When you memorize players' stats from 10 years ago, you aren't just storing numbers. You are archiving behavioral code. You are likely someone who possesses traumatic intelligence, a high-resolution awareness often forged in environments where you had to raise yourself or survive as the black sheep of the family. In a chaotic childhood, you learned that being able to predict the mood of an authority figure was a survival skill. As an adult, that same neural circuitry is still looking for patterns to ensure your safety. Sports provide a safe space for this surveillance. By tracking the rise and fall of an athlete over a decade, your brain is practicing root cause analysis. You are seeing how a human being responds to pressure, fame, failure, and aging. You aren't obsessed with the sport. You are obsessed with the strategic outcome of human effort. You keep those stats as receipts so that your brain can build a predictive model for everyone else in your life. You are effectively outsourcing your behavioral profiling to the stadium so that when you're in a real-world high-stakes situation, your superior neural efficiency already has a library of 1,000-player archetypes to pull from. The second point is the concept of elite emotional continuity. Most people live in a fragmented present. They watch a game, feel the emotion, and then forget it by the next morning. But you have a high-resolution mind that views time as a single, continuous thread. You can connect a player's failure today to a specific decision they made in a locker room interview 8 years ago. This is a sign of an M-shaped future mindset. You are versatile and deeply connected to the why behind the what. This continuity makes you society's biggest threat because you cannot be gaslit by the media or the crowd. While the public is caught up in the visual novelty of a new superstar, you are looking at the long-term data. You see the silent signals of a player's decline before they even realize it themselves. You are practicing radical autonomy by refusing to let the current narrative dictate your understanding of the truth. You don't need a commentator to tell you if someone is clutch or not. You have 10 years of emotional data that tells you exactly who they are when the lights are brightest. This level of elite cognitive stability allows you to remain calm when everyone else is panicking because you've seen this movie before and you remember exactly how it ends. Third, we need to talk about decoding hidden intentions. As a predictive memory specialist, you aren't just looking at the scoreboard. You are performing a cross-modal analysis of human will. You notice when a player's stats start to dip in games that don't matter, or how their body language changes when they are playing for a contract versus playing for a championship. This is the polymath advantage. You are synthesizing physical data, psychological indicators, and historical context all at once. You are the auditory profiler of the game, hearing the hesitation in a player's voice or seeing the micro-stutter in their movement. This allows you to stay 5 steps ahead in your own life because you have spent years analyzing the hidden intentions of athletes under the most intense scrutiny on earth. You can now apply that same hyperactive intellect to your boss, your partner, or your competitors. You have a unique portfolio of human reactions stored in your mind. You are the sentinel who sees the trap coming in a business deal, because the tone of the room matches the tone of a specific team right before they blew a 20-point lead in 2016. Your memory isn't a museum. It's a weapon. Point number 4 addresses the link between your memory and defensive resilience. If you grew up in the forgotten generation or had to navigate a black sheep status, you learned that being blindsided is the ultimate danger. You developed a biological requirement for a safety map before you could ever relax. Your ability to remember every stat from a decade ago is your way of ensuring that the world remains knowable. By archiving a past with such high-resolution detail, you are creating a sense of order in a world that feels increasingly noisy and unpredictable. You are the sentinel who always checks the exits, and your sports archive is just another layer of your security system. You are practicing strategic energy allocation by mastering the data of the past so that you don't have to waste energy on surprises in the future. This is a marker of elite emotional self-sufficiency. You don't need the world to make sense. You make sense of the world through the data you've gathered. This makes you incredibly difficult to manipulate because you don't rely on hope. You rely on the root because truth of the numbers. The 5th point is your radical independence. Society tells us that living in the past is a weakness. We are told to stay in the moment and let go of the old data. But these are often just social mirrors, designed to make people more suggestible and less grounded in their own observations. If you refuse to let go of your archive, you are rejecting the 9-to-5 social grind of constant novelty. You are likely someone who loves staying at home or chooses a table for one because you value your internal database more than the surface-level small talk of the crowd. You don't need a group of friends to validate your opinion on a game because your opinion is built on a decade of elite emotional continuity. This level of radical autonomy is the rarest kind of strength. You are a digital ghost who sees through the hype and the marketing. You are society's biggest threat because you remember the failures that everyone else has been told to forget. You have the receipts, and in a world built on lies, the person with the receipts is the most powerful person in the room. Now we come to the solution. How do you take this incredible memory bank and turn it from a weird hobby into a strategic tool for your real life? Mastery starts with moving from passive observation to active profiling. Audit your behavioral archetypes. Take the players you've archived in your mind and categorize them by their reaction patterns. Who was the player that choked under pressure? Who was the one who succeeded when they were hated? Now let's get the people in your professional life. Can you sync their behavior to one of your archetypes? This isn't for fun. It's for defensive resilience. Use your sports archive as a predictive map for your real-world interactions. Practice strategic energy allocation. Don't just store every stat. Start asking yourself, what does this number tell me about human nature? If a player's stats dropped after a specific emotional event, that is a root cause truth you can use. You are training your superior neural efficiency to ignore the noise of the score and focus on the signal of the behavior. Protect your peace through data. When you feel yourself being gaslit or manipulated by a social mirror, at work or in a relationship, go back to your archive. Remind yourself that you have a high-resolution mind that sees patterns others don't. Use your ability to remember the 10-year-old stats as proof of your own cognitive stability. If you were right about that player's decline 3 years before it happened, you are likely right about the red flags you're seeing now. Step into the sentinel position. Realize that your silence and your observation are your greatest strengths. Like the quietest person in the room, your power comes from the fact that you know more than you say. Don't waste your portfolio of data on people who only want to talk about the surface-level scores. Save your insights for the moments where they can create a strategic outcome. Finally, point number 7, the sanctuary of the memory specialist. At MindUnlockx, we believe that every weird habit is a hidden door to a deeper truth about your potential. If you are someone who remembers the stats from 10 years ago, realize that you possess elite emotional continuity and a high-resolution mind that is built for the complexities of the modern world. You are a sentinel protecting the truth, a polymath archiving human nature, and a radical independent who refuses to be fooled by the noise of the crowd. Your brain isn't cluttered with trivia. It's a high-performance database that ensures you stay 5 steps ahead of the curve. You have the rarest kind of strength, the strength to see the long-term pattern in a short-term world. You are society's biggest threat because you remember everything, and in a world that wants you to forget, your memory is your ultimate liberation. If this description felt like it was written specifically for you, if you're a memory specialist who finally feels understood, let me know in the comments. Do you find yourself using sports as a way to understand the why behind people's actions? If you're tired of surface level advice and want to keep decoding the hidden psychology of your unique traits, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join our sanctuary here at MindUnlockx, where we turn weird habits into profound insights. Thank you for watching, and remember, the stats don't lie, but the world does. Trust your archive.